Or still on judicial matters, the Court of Appeal sitting in Yola set aside the High Court rulings nullifying the primaries that produced Emmanuel Bacha and Aishatu Binani as the All Progressives Congress governorship candidates for Taraba and Adamawa states respectively. The unanimous decision of the three-man panel led by Justice Tani Hassan set aside the judgments of the lower court on Thursday and ordered that their names be resubmitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) as APC governorship candidates for both states. In September, Justice Simon Amobeda of the Federal High Court in Jalingo, the Taraba State capital, sacked Bacha after a petition by ex-aspirant David Kente. Similarly, last month, a federal high court sitting in Yola nullified APC primary that produced Binani as the party's governorship candidates for Adamawa after a former chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), Nuhu Ribadu, had dragged Binani and INEC before the High Court, alleging vote buying and illegal delegates list at the primary. However, the appellate court on Thursday set aside both judgments, restoring the candidature of Bacha and Binani. Well, to speak more on this, Liberals Oshoma legal expert joins me now. Thank you very much for joining us. A month ago, the Taraba and Adamawa state had no APC governorship candidates, but the Court of Appeal has reversed this decision. Can you give us more insight into this development?
Yeah, thank you. You see, it's what I call, first and foremost, a ruling party syndrome, where every ruling party, you always have, at every primary, you always have this factionalization, and factionalization will lead to, election petitions such as this. In 2019, we saw it happen. Pre-2019, if you remember, before 2015 election, he was a recurring decimal with PDP governorship aspirant. But matter goes to a head in 2015 when the APC had to, lose completely two states. I think 2019, yes, Zamfara and Rivers State over issues that had to do with candidature. And now we're seeing it playing out again. We saw the case of the Akpabio case in Akwa Ibom. We saw the Machida in Yobe State, and then governorship candidate in Taraba and Adamawa State. Basically, even the court in most times had been also cautioned not to unnecessarily interfere in the affairs of political parties. But when the procedures for nominating candidates in the primaries are not followed, the court also is always called question to look at the processes if all the provisions of Section 84 of the Electoral Act had been complied with. And that was what happened.
Sorry to interrupt at this point, but some would say this is politics of power, as the Federal High Court did not find them worthy, but now the Court of Appeal has made a reversal. Well, would you say this is politics playing out, and what does this say of the country's judicial system?
Yeah, it's basic for me. I will not begin to, look at it from the prism of politics once the matter is in court, even though definitely there are one or two interferences here and there that can be alleged. But like I said, if the provisions of the law, Electoral Act, Section 84, 1 to 14 are not complied with, the court also, even INEC in some cases, had a right to write a report to say, we did not monitor these primaries. And once that report is missing, we have seen it also in some APC matters in Cross River State. Once that report is missing, what the court will eventually do is to say that since this report it means that the primaries were not validly conducted. So in this same vein, these are some of the issues that played out. But the Court of Appeal in its wisdom had heard otherwise. At the Federal High Court is a panel of one man. At the Court of Appeal is a panel of three. At the Supreme Court is a panel of five. So like we say, two good heads are better than one. So that's why once the matter happens, usually for some of us, we look beyond the Court of Appeal and we look up to the Supreme Court. No matter how the Supreme Court look at it, that's when we now begin to say, yes, the court has spoken, and then now begin to look at the rationale for the decision so taken. But until that is done,
It's a wait and see situation, and we'll see how this plays out. That's if it escalates to the Supreme Court. But Liberal Oshoma, a legal expert, thank you very much for your time and your contribution.